this out.
Absolver. Is it worth the $30 price tag? Hello there, this is New the Gaming New. Thank you for stopping by my channel and looking forward to giving you insight on whether or not this game is worth your hard-earned $30. The first thing to talk about is story. The story of Absolver focuses on your main character as a prospector, a disciple of an organization known as the Guides, sent into a very ruined and collapsed empire to fight amongst each other, to hone their martial prowess to become one truth, and that truth is to become an Absolver. The Absolver, from my understanding, is a sense of justice in this ruined land, and that's the purpose that you're trying to go for. While the story is very vague and includes no actual dialogue, it's definitely an interesting concept that they've come up with here, as the people in this world can only really exist outside of the Guide's Tower if they have these enchanted masks. It is important to mention that the story of this game is not very long, as it really only has you fighting random NPCs and other players as you go around the map trying to find 6 marked ones that are basically the type of mini-boss, and only 3 actual bosses. However, when you have beaten the game, you do get to come back through and hone your skills, learn new moves, and eventually re-challenge those same 3 bosses again. However, you can't do so right away. You do have to increase your combat ranking to be able to do so. This is done in a PvP mode called the Combat Trials. The Combat Trials has you facing off against another player in the best 3 out of 3 match. In this match, you can gain up to 3 points. 1 point for just participating in the fight all the way till the end, another point for actually beating your opponent 2 times, and a third and final point for winning the entire match. Every 5 points you obtain in this manner will rank up your Combat Trials ranking, and allow you to have a piece of gear at random, which can sometimes be duplicated. They also get you closer to being able to re-challenge the bosses. The first boss can be re-challenged at levels 20, and again at levels 40, the second boss at 30 and again at 50, and then the last boss can be re-challenged at 40 and again at 60. This is important as that's the only way to obtain some of the boss's gear. Also, it is very important to note that this game is not without its flaws, and definitely not without its bugs. I have encountered a lot of strange things already playing the game, and honestly some of them I just simply can't explain. But when the game does lag, it does tend to lag fairly hard, and can also cause you to lose fights. This is definitely a threat that you have to face. The combat can be fun at times, but can also be overwhelming, as some of the normal NPC fights can become quickly more challenging than the boss fights themselves, especially when you're being ganged up on by up to 3 enemies, sometimes even 5. However, this doesn't entirely detract from the actual fun nature of the game. The combat's definitely unique, and fairly fluid actually. The challenge, however, is definitely there at times, and at other times it can be very easy. So it's completely all over the place with no way to actually set the actual difficulty of the game. Combat actually allows you to create your own unique fighting style from the 4 stances: Cahalt, Windfall, Forsaken, and Stagger. This is my favorite feature of the game, as it does allow you to have your own unique fighting style. However, it is definitely important to note that the faster moves are the ones that actually win PvP matches, not usually the stronger ones. So you will be finding a lot of people that are using similar fighting styles. Aside from just using martial arts, you also have abilities and weapons that you can use in the game, using the gems inside of your body as they materialize. These allow you to summon your weapon, to use abilities that can heal you, push your enemy away, stagger your enemy, or even take their stamina away from them. They do make combat interesting, however mostly people like to use the one that pushes enemies away to push people off the cliffs, so you do have to watch out for that. One problem I have is that you can't actually get rid of duplicate items at this time. You're stuck with everything that you pick up, and they just keep on gathering in your inventory. Also, it's important to note that only about 8% of the actual items in game can be acquired in PvE. Everything else has to be acquired through the Combat Trials. And as far as stats go, it's important to note that there's a 20-point soft cap, and everything you go past that really doesn't imply as much of a boost as it really should. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for when building your character, is to try to keep around 20 points. I messed up with the 26, and there is no way to actually respec your character at this time either. You'd have to start a whole nother character over if you do mess up. The biggest thing about the game is you'll be spending a lot of time just blocking moves to try to learn their abilities, as you have to block or dodge a move to be able to gain experience towards that move. You also have to still win the fight. This is particularly hard when you're playing online, as other players tend to want to come and interfere while you're trying to learn a move, and with the way that the game's set up, it just really makes things difficult. And if you're going to try to learn a move, it's really easier to do so in the offline mode provided by the game, as I find that to be a very useful tool. Another problem is with the fact that there is no friendly fire, so you can accidentally hurt people that are trying to help you. And if you're actually working alongside a friend, you can actually accidentally hit them in combat as well. And this can cause problems at times as well. It's pretty important to note as well. The other players can either help you or hinder you as you're playing the game. So when you're definitely wanting to do something like gather moves, you want to do that offline. It's also important to note that if you're wanting to play with a friend, particularly that you know, you'll end up at this time having to create your own unique lobby, which it can make things a bit hectic because at times it'll double the bosses and enemies in the area, which can be a very stressful situation, trying to fight off 6 enemies or more at a time with just two of you. That's kind of a big deal in its own regards as well. Despite that, the game can be fun at times, so that is also important to note. Well, I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.